Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome in. Welcome in. Today, you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat today. So, welcome, everyone, and thank you for
Tempola,
joining me today.
tempola.
Whether you're watching live,
Listen.
Beverly, whether you are watching live, catching the replay, or listening later, I am glad that you are here. Today, we are talking about something that stopped a lot of people from moving forward: uncertainty. Buying a home is one of the biggest financial decisions most people will ever make. And what if I tell you that over the years it prevent them from buying because of making the wrong decision? It's not the people, okay? That it's not that they don't want to buy, it's that they don't understand the process. And when you do understand the process, something feels fearful, or there's a fear in you, or there's a gap where you don't know what to do. So today I'm going to break it down for you with 10 questions. The audience is going to be asking 10 questions, 10 most common question buyers ask me, the real question, the honest real question, and I'm giving you clear answers and clear direction. No pressure, no confusion, just education. So let's jump right in. Audience, ask me your first question.
So, Miss Vivian, how much money do I really need to buy a home?
And that's what really confuses people. To says, how much money do I need to buy a home? And I teach the first time home buyers class, and I've seen people get into home for as little as $1,500 or 2,500 or 3,500. But most lender will tell you that you need anywhere. There's different loans that you can have 1% down. There's loans that you can have 0% down. Okay. There is loans that you can also have 3.5% down, or conventional loan at 3%. Okay. And then there's USDA loan. USDA loan is usually, if you qualify, not a lot of people qualify for it, but if you qualify, that can be zero money down as well. And then there's also VA. Are you a veteran? You serve your country. Now it's time to take advantage of your benefit. Now just think about it. You could get into a home. That's why I said I always advertise, zero or no money down, because, USDA, zero money down. Also, VA, zero money down. And also, there's a lot of grants and bond and ship program and stuff like that. So you'll be surprised to know, Beverly, that
Really?
there,
That's good
yeah,
information, Viv. That's
yeah,
good
you'd be surprised to
information.
know, to say that, hey, you don't really need much money down. All you needed to
Right.
do is have a willing heart, and and
Yes.
step forward, and we'll clarify all of that. So, but great question, great question. So,
Uh,
just to break it down, there is many assistants out there. There's zero money down. There's different
mhm.
ways of getting in. So don't prejudge yourself. Don't prejudge
Okay.
yourself. Just reach out to me and let me know. I can help you get started, and let me know where
Mhm.
you are so I can help you get started. But what a great question. What a great first question that is, Beverly.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
what other question you might have?
So, I have question to what credit score do I need to have?
Okay, so credit score kind of dependent on the loan that you're getting. FHA loan starts off at about 580, with conventional starting off at about 620. But let's say you were looking to get, down payment assistance, closing cost help. Your
Mhm.
credit score need to be at least 640 or more. The higher you get it, the better off it is, because sometimes when the lender pulls your credit, let's say you were at
Mhm.
640 and you need to be at 640, then it might drop it to 620 or 630 or something like that. So to give it a chance. So let's say you were at 650 and it dropped to 640, at least you're still safe. So what a great question that is.
Mhm.
And then remember, with also, Beverly, payment matters. Okay, debt income ratio matters, and then also income stability also matters. So that's why they're going to be checking,
Mhm.
you've been on your job, things like that, how much money you make, and also your payment history and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever your credit score is going to be, the better off you are to get, maybe if
Yeah.
you're looking for that grant or that bond or that loan.
I also understand that your payment history has to be very good because the lender is wondering if you will keep up the payments if I have a bad payment history. So what do you think about that, Viv?
Well, if you need to have a good payment history, so
Oh.
with your payment history, that's what we talk about. We talk about payment history. So we
Mm-hmm.
remember I said that before, that you need to have a good payment history. So you need to make sure that you're paying all your bills on time,
Mm-hmm.
and you're making sure that you're not overcharging on your charge cards.
Okay, all right. So about what percentage on my charge card is acceptable?
I would say about 29%. Don't charge it no more
Mm-hmm.
than 29%.
Okay, okay, that's good info. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. So I have a third question. What is the first step in buying a home? What do I need to do?
Well, great question. Great question. It is not looking for a home is the first step. The first step is
Mm-hmm.
getting with your lender and your realtor, and
Mm-hmm.
getting pre-approved, not
Mm-hmm.
pre-qualified, but pre-approved. That means
Mm-hmm.
you have turned in all your documents, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and you can find out what you qualify for, and then what your payment is going to be, and things like that, and then what kind of programs are available, and if you are qualified for any kind of assistance or anything like that. Without pre-approval, you are just guessing, and it's not good to guess. You need to have a strategy of what you're doing, where you're going. You need to have clear directions.
I see. Okay, so I have another question.
Sure.
How long does the process take?
It depends on the lender and it depends on the loan. I've seen lender close houses in 20 days. But
Mm-hmm.
normally I usually put on the contract, depending on the lender. If you're not using down payment assistant or and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
then you might say, okay, within 30 days you are able to close on that loan. But
Mm-hmm.
if you said you wanted to use a grant or a bond or down payment
Mm-hmm.
assistant, the lender will need at least 30 days for the loan to be approved, and then
Mm-hmm.
you will need another 30 days for the grant or the bond, because it's two different loan. One of them is silent, okay, and then the other one you have to pay, but the other one that's silent, they still need at least 30 days, and that's like a second lien on the house, but usually it falls off after a period of time you living inside the house. So you don't necessarily have to worry about paying back. But make sure when you're signing those loan documents, are you ask the lender, is this silent loan, or do I have to pay it back? Sometimes it's a
Mm-hmm.
proration of you living inside the house for a while, and then after that, it's forgiven. So great question on that.
So what if I sell the house before the loan period ends?
It's good. Remember, I just told you about proration. Okay, so if let's say they said you need to live in the house 7 years and you live in it 5 years, whatever money that is left over from all of that, from the rest of it, the proration. Let's say you did 5 years and you actually needed to do seven, and you actually owe. Let's say you owed the it was, let's say it was a $50,000 grant or bond, and then they said, well, you know what, out of that, because you didn't live in the house the full length, I want 10,000 back. And then all you do is give them that money back just from your proceed, and then
Mm.
whatever money is left over, you're the one that takes that.
Okay, that sounds good. That
So
sounds good.
equity, you end up building equity inside that house.
Mm-hmm.
And but just think, you're getting that money, you're getting 50,000 or 40,000 or 20,000, but just to think that you're getting that money and you're not actually taking that money out of your pocket. So
Mm-hmm.
then therefore you can use the other money that you have to either
Mm-hmm.
save to make the payments eventually, or if not, buy furniture, fix up the house and make the house
Mm-hmm.
that you want. So it's good if you can
Yeah.
get some help, and there's a lot of help out there. You just have to reach out.
And I'm not paying it back like how I'm paying my mortgage.
No, you don't pay that back like that. No.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
most, but you need to check it out to make sure that you're not paying it back, because some of them or you pay them back and there's a high interest rate on it. You got
Mm-hmm.
to remember, you got to ask the lender, am I going to be
Mm-hmm.
paying this back? And then how am
Oh
I going to pay
yes.
it back? So it's not one cap fit all. There's some that is
Mm-hmm.
forgivable and some that's not forgivable. You need to make sure that you are on you are on the right path of finding out whatever it is that you need to know, whether you are looking to you know pay it back or you're not looking to pay it back. You need to make sure that when you get in it, when you sign the document, this document is telling you it's forgivable once
Mm.
you live inside the house and you don't have to pay it back. But just like I said, make sure you're asking the right question,
Oh yes.
because if you're not asking the right question, then you
Mm.
might end up have two payments. On that might be your regular mortgage payment, and that might be the grant payment
The
as well.
grand.
So
Mm-hmm.
you want to make sure
Okay.
that you're keeping those straight and making sure not one cap fit all.
Great information, Viv. Great information. Thank you. So I have another question. Is it better to rent or to buy right now?
I'm not gonna say that it's better to buy. It's depend on your situation. Okay, rent, when you rent, you are actually building the landlord equity. Okay, buying, it builds your equity. Now buying is not right for everyone, okay, but it's right for someone, but it gives you financial stability, and it plan you can plan and stay in the house as long as you want to. The
Mm,
only time that most of the time that your mortgage payment will go up is if your taxes goes up, and sometimes it goes up because of the price of the price of the home get more expensive, you get
mm,
equity inside of it, or if not your insurance payment, okay, your insurance might go up. So those are the things why your insurance might go up, why your payment might go up. The payment is
mm,
stable, okay, your principal interest is stable, but you might say, okay, we have to pay more taxes, have to pay more insurance, but insurance is something that you can shop around for. But then there's also homestead, that you can file your homestead and get up to $50,000 off. So then it keeps your taxes low, and your taxes is capped at a certain percent rate, mill rate, that it won't go up too far, compared to if you did not have that homestead.
okay, thank you. So
You're welcome.
I'm just wondering, what are closing costs? What
Well,
is that?
closing costs consist of a lot of things. It consists of the appraisal fee, the title fees, the lender's fee, insurance, prepaid taxes. It also, realtor brokers has fees as well, that it consists of all of those. And you don't normally pay any of those up front. The only thing that you might pay up front is the lender might ask you for a credit card, and then they might charge the appraisal fee to your credit card. But the rest of the fees are usually average anywhere between 3.3% to 3.5% off the price of the home. So it's not one set thing that says, okay, well, I'm only going to pay 3%. Everyone is different, so don't base your situation on another person's situation. Remember, have the lender give you a breakdown of all the fees that you're going to be paying at closing. So then therefore
Mm-hmm.
when you get to closing, there's no surprise. So because some closing fee might be 2% and some might be 5, you might be in the middle. So it's not one cap fit all. Again, it depends on the house, and it depends on what is included in your closing costs. Because remember, there's HOA fees that might be included in your closing costs. There might be something called transfer. When you're transferring the HOA,
Mm-hmm.
there might be extra fees on that to transfer the HOA. And then of course you might have to pay the first couple of months, depending. They will let you know, the title company will let you know, you might have to pay the first couple of months up front.
Mm-hmm.
They might say pay the first 4 months. And so they collect that ahead of time. So for at least for 4 months, you wouldn't have to worry about paying the HOA. Make sure that if it's something that's important to you about HOA, make sure that you are looking at the listing itself to make sure what the HOA is. Because
Mm-hmm.
let's say you were buying a condo, If you were
Mm,
buying a condo, some of these condo fee, I was searching on the internet, not on the internet, on the MLS today because I was making an appointment to take out
mhm.
a first time home buyer tomorrow. Okay. And I saw the lender says don't make sure that the HOA is not no more than about $200. I was looking, I saw this HOA $1,000+ per month.
Really?
So that's why I said, you have to be careful, to make sure that you are paying attention. Don't go in it naive. you know
Mhm,
some of these things you might be able to learn to negotiate, where you might be able to negotiate the buyer's agent compensation, or you can negotiate closing costs, because some seller, I saw one of my buyer that the seller was giving her over 20,000. I closed on a house the end of last year, and in December, and that seller gave the buyer 20 something thousand dollars. And
Wow.
I had another one this week where the buyer, the seller was giving the buyer 20 something thousand dollars to for all her closing costs, and then also buy down the rate. So let's say your rate is a
Wow.
little bit higher.
That is good.
If your rate is a little bit higher, then you can always use some of that money that the seller gives you to buy down the rate, to get it to where
Mhm.
you want it to be, to make sure that the payment is where you actually want the payment to be.
Oh
But
yeah.
great question about closing costs. Great question.
Mm. Okay, Viv. Now that I my everything was approved for me to go ahead and get the house, so I find a house that I like. Okay, so do I need to have it inspected? And what happens if the inspector finds problems with the house that I choose? What
What
happened then?
what a great question that is. And for me, if you're working with me, you will not be skipping your inspection,
Mm-hmm,
because I when I when you buy a house through my team, I want
mm-hmm,
to make sure that you are getting a good house. Make sure that
mm-hmm,
there's no termites or anything on it.
mm-hmm,
There was back in 2008 or so, someplace around there, and beyond. A lot of people were buying house and they were not getting inspected. And I go
mm-hmm,
inside homes and I'm showing homes, and then there's mold inside the wall, and my buyer see that, hey, we open up the HVAC and there's mold in there, and I turn around and said to the seller, what's going on? Didn't you see that there's water leaking down on it, right underneath the AC, and the wall is moldy? And the seller turned around and said to me, when I in the market with around 2008, where I did, houses was flying off the market, multiple offers,
mm-hmm,
said I did not get an inspection. And I said, wow. So with me, you will definitely be getting an inspection, and there's more than one inspection. There's plenty of inspection. There's
mm-hmm,
termite inspection, regular house inspection, septic
mm-hmm,
tank inspection, well inspection, roof inspection, how the roof is pinned down.
mm-hmm.
There's many different inspections. So that inspection usually average maybe around $600 for all your inspection. So make sure
Oh.
you're going out there, you are getting a house that is solid and sound, because that is actually what you want. You want to make sure that you're getting something that it when you move into it, you're actually able to move into it and it's not a money pit. Okay,
Mm-hmm,
I will not let you
mm-hmm,
buy a house that's a money pit. I will tell you to walk away from it, because you know what? I am here to protect my consumers and make sure that they're okay. So, and then you said your other question was onto that about inspection. Yes, you should get an inspection. You were also asking me what happened if the inspection doesn't go well. Can
mm-hmm,
you negotiate? Yes. Well, let's say you were using the down payment assistant. If you were using the down payment assistant and there's stuff that comes back on the inspection, you will need to have that fixed. You will need to have
mm-hmm,
it fixed ahead of time, because if you get an Orange County down payment assistant, they will want to make sure that you're actually are buying a sound house. So they will not let you buy it. They will ask the seller to fix all of those things,
mm-hmm,
make sure that you're getting into a good home. And then if the seller is not going to fix those things, that's when we're going to walk away. But I don't want you to waste a lot of money on inspection, because I've had
mm-hmm,
people that gotten at least 3 inspection done on 3 different houses. I want
mm-hmm,
to make sure that you're able to get your inspection done. The seller is able to fix the things, and you're able to go ahead and move forward with that house. But if the seller decide that they're not fixing these things, then I'm going to say it's time to walk away, because
Oh,
I will not let you
okay.
buy a house that you cannot move in and it's not move-in ready. And there's things, you're looking out for termite. You're looking out to make sure that the roof is not leaking. You're looking, you're looking for all these different things. There's not leak underneath the sink and stuff like that. When you go, that's why I don't ask you to skip your inspection. And for me, you have to sign a waiver on the inspection to make sure that you're not skipping your inspection, because I don't want you to
Mm-hmm.
come back later on and says,
That's
hey,
right.
Dave was the one that helped me, that tell me to skip my inspection. So that's a no-no for me. You need to make sure that you get
Mm-hmm.
your inspection done. But great
And
question.
that's why I appreciate a good realtor,
Yeah.
not one that is interested more so to sell the house and not thinking about the buyer. Yes, so I like
And then
that.
also
I
not,
like
and then
that.
thinking of, and then also thinking about the money instead of thinking about the buyer. Because
Mm-hmm.
remember, if you
Yes,
if you have enough, if you take care of the people, the business will come. Okay, don't
exactly.
push something on somebody, because I'm taking out a buyer tomorrow, and the buyer was telling me that the realtor was doing was sending her junk that she doesn't want to live in. Don't send Look at these houses that you're sending these people, and don't send them junk. Not because they may be using a down payment assistant or something like that. Send them houses that are good, okay?
That's
That you
right.
that you're actually able to move into, and
Excuse
it's
me.
ready, moving, and able to move into, and they're
Mm-hmm.
good, and they're not wasting their money, because buying a house is one of the largest purchase of your life. It's an
Mm.
investment, okay? But you don't want it to be a curse. You want it to be a blessing to you, where
Amen.
where you're actually buying a sound house. For me, I search on the MLS multiple listing service daily just to find the right house for my buyers, because I've teach the home buyers class so many times, and I've used a lot of those buyers come to me to help them find houses in order for them to be able to use a down payment assistant or something like that. So I want to make sure that they are getting the right house at the right price. Negotiate.
Mhm.
If they might ask me what I think. It's not really what I think, but I teach in the class how to negotiate for yourself. And if I don't think, because sometimes they're new buyers and they don't know, if I don't think it's a right deal for you, I'm gonna say, hey, this is, there's too much stuff need to be inspected, or there's too much stuff that's wrong with the house. Let's walk away from it. And so far, I've gotten buyers into so many great homes. I just closed on one where the seller was so great. There was a leak in the laundry room. They fixed that. There was some wood rot on the back of the house. They went ahead and fixed that, and then just make sure that the house was in perfectly good condition for the buyer. So, Mr. Seller, I thank you for always watching out for the buyer, and not
Mhm.
your pocketbook alone, but always watching out for making sure that the buyer get the best house possible to live in, especially if it's a first time home buyer. But great question, Beverly.
Okay. So I have another question here for you. Are interest rates too high right now?
Interest rate, I would say these are normal interest rate, or even better than normal interest rate, because I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I bought my house, the interest rate was 7, and I've known people that paid 12, 14%. But right now, where the interest rate is, it's hovering between 5 and 7 or something like that. But what can happen is the seller can give you closing costs, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and you can use that closing cost money in order to buy the rates down, because the rate
Mm-hmm.
fluctuate. When the rate is locked in is normally when you're under contract, and the lender can actually, or the broker can actually lock in the rate for you. And then keep in mind, it's better to buy the house now than wait till later, because the house price is not going to go down, it's only going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
But at least
Yes.
rates that you're asking about, at least those rates you can refinance and get a better rate. My rate was at 7%. Now I'm at 3%. I was able to refinance it and get it down
Mm-hmm.
to 3%. So you can always refinance the house and get a better rate, instead of staying in the higher rate. But I would say, for me, I always says, date the rate and marry the house. Okay, so you're buying the house and you're dating the rate, because the rate can always change, and
Mm-hmm.
you can always refinance that rate anytime the rate goes down. So it's not really
Okay.
locked in there. So great question.
And my last question I have for you this evening, Viv. Do I need a realtor? I'm a buyer, so do I need a realtor, or
No,
I can go straight to the seller?
I mean, you don't really need a realtor, but it's recommended that you get a realtor. Lots of people buy houses without realtor, but do you have anyone that is there to help you negotiate? Anyone that
Mm-hmm.
is licensed? Anyone that is a realtor? Remember, a realtor is different from a real estate agent. A
Yeah.
realtor is a part of NAR, and they're governed by the ethics. Okay, so we go by the ethic. With a realtor, they're not governed by the realtor's ethics, as in they're not governed by NAR, so they're just an agent. They're not necessarily a realtor. They can do the same job, but keep in mind that a realtor is has to go by what NAR has,
Mm-hmm.
their code of ethic, making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing for this buyer or for the seller, making sure we do that. But having a realtor on your side, it only makes your offer stronger. Okay, and remember, the realtor is experienced. They're going to protect your interests. They're going to negotiate for you, and then they'll keep you, make sure that you stay on track with all your deadline, because there's so many deadlines that is on the contract. And then if
Mm-hmm.
you miss any of those deadline, your escrow may be in jeopardy, so that means you could lose money, if
Mm-hmm.
you don't have a realtor keeping track of all of
Yeah.
those deadline, and it prevent expensive mistake as well. Okay, so the realtor really will represent you. There's two realtors. There's a seller's realtor. The seller's realtor sign an agreement with the listing agent. Okay, with the seller's realtor, and then you as a buyer realtor, you sign a buyer's agreement with a buyer's agent, so the
Mm-hmm.
buyer's agent can take care of you and help negotiate with all the cost, the fees, the date, and everything like that. They just keep you protected because they are actually licensed.
Yes, and here's my big question now. What if I'm too scared to start? What happened? What do I do? How do I get over this feeling, this scary feeling?
For me, I would say, get with me, have a buyer's consultation. I do also have a workshop that I run every last Tuesday of the month. You can come on and answer any question that you may have, and then to make it easier for you. And then I also teach the HUD certified class that you can come on. Now
Mm-hmm.
that is certified, so you will get a certificate that is good for 2 years, and you can use it in all 50 states, and you can get down payment assistance, bond, grants, loan, whatever it is that you want to get.
Mm-hmm.
And then also with that class, let's say your credit is not up to par, it's not good, you can also sign up with the housing counselor, and the housing counselor can help you get your credit to where it needs to be. But I will hold your hand from start to finish, and then making sure that you understand the process. And I will go with you step by step, to make sure that you are not missing out on anything, and making sure that you are staying on key and on point. And I will guide you through. And what I do is I explain all the step to you at first, but what
Mm-hmm.
I do each step, I take it one at a time. So let's say you said, what's the first thing to do? I would say, okay, I'm your realtor. Go ahead and reach out to the lender. Okay. Then I
Mm-hmm.
would say, okay, now you got your pre-approval. Then I would say, okay, well, I see how much your proof are. Now I'm going to set you up on a search. Okay. And then we're going to look for houses that are suitable to you. You can drive by the area. You can do anything that you want to do. But I am here to guide you. So therefore you won't be scared, because I am here. I am your mind. I am your thought, because I help you one step at a time. Take it one step at a time, because buying a house is not something that everyone gets up and do every day. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's different from when you're renting, from when for and then when you're homeowner, it's something totally different. You can just go out and fill out a rental application, and of course they run your credit and do whatever you need to do, and they do, and then you send them your information, and then okay, now you're ready. Within maybe 7 days or so, they might pre-approve you. You can go into this apartment. Buying a house is just something different, and it takes time, and that's why I'm here to guide you step by step. Okay,
Yes,
do
I
everything
cannot.
that you need.
I understand that because I heard stories where people buy houses, and when they move into the house, it's something completely different from what they had expected, and they can't get out of it.
Right. So
So
right.
I
So
can
once
see.
you buy the house, you buy the house. Okay. And
Mm-hmm,
that's why I said that's why what some of the question that you were asking about do you need a realtor and stuff like that. You can
yes.
buy it and you can buy crap, but that's why,
Mm-hmm,
you need a realtor to help guide you because once you're in that, it's not something that you can actually get out of. Okay,
mm-hmm,
because you're in it. You sign your document, it's yours, you own it. You own it now. So it's not like that you
mm-hmm,
can back out of it. And if you sell that house and something is wrong with it, as a seller, you have to disclose what's wrong with the house.
mm-hmm.
It's not like said, well, you know what, it has mold inside of it. I'm just going to put it back on the market to put it back on the market. You can't do that. You're going to have to disclose,
Right, because you
that
know.
there was mold in it, there was a leak in it,
Mm,
or whatever it is, stuff like that. But if you're an investor, that's a little bit different. Investor just
yeah.
go ahead and buy houses and sell them right back. But you're buying this house and you're going to be living in it. I would say at least an average of 7 to 10 years you're going to live in it because
Mm,
time really runs fast.
yeah.
Now, do you have
I'm
any
really
more
glad.
questions?
No, I'm really glad that you mentioned that the difference between a realtor and a regular agent. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that
Now,
because I would feel more comfortable going with a realtor than having an agent selling me a house, helping me to purchase a house.
very good, very good, very good. Yeah, and that's why it's important. That's why I made sure that I let you know the difference between a
Mm-hmm,
realtor and a real estate agent. Because
mm-hmm,
those are just two different things. Most people don't understand it. They think we govern by the R, as in
mm,
realtor. Okay, we can
yeah,
use that and we can use that behind our name and stuff like that. A
mm-hmm,
real estate agent cannot use that, okay, because
right,
they're not part of that organization to use that. They in Florida we have both. We have real estate agent and we also have realtors.
mm-hmm.
So but that's good.
So that's the end of my questions,
I,
Viv.
I
Thank you
really
so
thank you so
much.
much for all of those questions. Now,
Yes,
if
thank you
you
so much.
it's been nice being able to answer questions.
Mm,
If you're looking to purchase a home, I'm here to my team and I be happy to assist you. But now if you've been listening and you're thinking about buying a home, I don't know um that, but I thought you needed to know about these questions. But if you're thinking that you needed money or something like that, or you needed good credit or anything like that, that's exactly why this conversation that I'm having today with Beverly, that it matters. Because silence create assumption and assumption creates delay. And that's what we don't want. There's
mhm,
far too many apartment going up and around because they keep saying that we have shortage of housing, but we have a shortage of affordable housing. And
mhm,
I am advocating for that to make sure that we have affordable housing. And I'm talking about affordable housing between 250 to 350. That's what I call affordable housing for maybe the
mhm.
people who are working at Disney and they don't make that much or something like that. So I'm advocating for that, for those people. So book a consultation with me and I'll have a real conversation with you and get you clarity. You don't have to commit to buying right now, okay, or tomorrow, but you should understand your option today. What it is
Mhm,
that you need to do, where you need to start. You can call me at 321-231-8487. And then you can also, send me a text message. I'll be happy to assist you. I'm Viv Cunningham with Preferred Real Estate Brokers here, the voice for the people. I thank you so much for spending this time with me. Now, let's take the next step together, which is awesome. The next step is to contact me. Beverly, you are such an awesome person. I thank you for those wonderful, wonderful questions.
you are most
And then
welcome.
I hope I answer all the question that you have. And I hope you don't have any other burning question that somebody out there will be asking that you didn't ask. So if you have any
Well,
additional question,
if
just let me know.
if
And
there
then,
are other questions, we could do another. You
yeah,
could do another podcast to
yeah.
answer them.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is
Yeah.
maybe we'll come up with some more questions and things like
Mm-hmm.
that, and then we can do another one of these. But join me for
Yes.
my workshop. My workshop is going to be next Tuesday. If you
Mm-hmm.
want, send me a message and I'll drop you the link. It's going to be from next Tuesday from
Mm-hmm.
6:30 to 7:30 that we're going to be, doing a workshop. This time is just answering question. Next week is going to be doing a workshop. So what I'm going to be doing next week is I'm going to be going step by step through whatever it is that you need to do in order to purchase a home. Okay. So I thank you guys so much for listening. And I'll see you next time on First Time Home Buyers Question. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Viv. Thank you. Bye.